Hello, welcome to my channel. This is my first attempt at painting horses. I hope you enjoy the video, and if you do, please help the algorithm find me among the thousands of videos uploaded every day by hitting the thumbs up button and the subscribe button, and thank you very much for watching. Okay, so remember this one that I did? I got the idea from a 1966 book on 18th century watercolor painting, and I think the artist was Gilpin. I have to look it up to remember, but I loved what he had done. I know I couldn't find it on the internet, so I didn't really see it in color because all the illustrations were in black and white, or the prints were in black and white. So I liked the shadowed foreground and the spotlit distant. And so that's what I'm going to try with this. I'm going to try putting the horses in the shade and maybe put some water or distant hills or something, a road, I don't know, something going off there to lead your eye into the middle distance. So here's Gilpin's lovely painting. It's so delicate, and I like that spotlit effect. I'm going to give it my best shot. I don't expect it to come out anywhere near as beautiful as this painting, but hey, I'll give it a go. Okay, so here's my palette of water mixable oils. It's my usual palette of titanium white, cad yellow light, raw sienna, raw umber, French ultramarine blue, sap green, and alizarin crimson. And I have to warn you, I have the door standing open. It's a lovely day, and I'm on a flight path, and you will hear aircraft going past. So the first thing that I'm going to do is everything other than the horses. So I will concentrate mainly on the video mainly on the horses, so I'll be skipping through this. It will take me quite some time to paint all this in, and you will see bits of that. So I'm using a 1/4 inch flat, and I'm going to put some blue in for the sky, although it will be covered a great deal by the trees and you won't really see that much of the sky. I'm going to mix in some titanium white to make it a little more, to make it paler and to make it a little more opaque also. That's what the titanium white does. And I think we will have some water down here, so I'll bring it right down to this area, but how much of that will stay? I'm mixing sap green with a little cad yellow light, a little blue, and getting a nice pale green. I actually might put some titanium in that as well, make a really pale green, and I'm going to sort of put that between the trees, getting a little stronger as it comes closer. Under the horses' bellies. I'm mixing French ultramarine blue plus a little raw umber, and I'm going to mix some white in that to give me a greyish, maybe a little raw sienna to give me a sort of brown grey. And I'm going to just roughly sketch in my trees. They're not done, but sketched in where I want them to be. I've got some raw sienna, some sap green, little blue, and I'm just going to scuffle or scumble is the term, I think, in my foreground. I'm going to use an old bristle brush that I have for this. That's better. Don't want to cover up my sketch. When I was a little girl, I lived on a farm in England. It was called Temple Farm, actually, and because it was built on the site of a Roman temple. And it was a 500-year-old farm, really tumbling down. All the roofs were Pantel roofs, and the old original, everything was original. It was just a 500-year-old tumbling down farm. And we had horses on that farm, but they were Shire horses, and they had the long furry hair around the ankles. I don't know horses, and if I knew any of the terms, I've forgotten them all long since. But another kid who lived on the farm, his father was a horseman, and so he was allowed to go in the stables when they were being groomed. There were 6 of these Shire horses, and because I was his friend, the only other kid that lived on the farm, I got to go in and watch the grooming, but nobody ever spoke. It was all done totally silently. And then after the horses were groomed in the summertime, I think probably in the winter too, because it was England and it wasn't always that cold. Okay, that's coming along. After they were groomed, they were allowed out down the lane to the pastures, and I used to love to see them galloping off down there. I'm mixing up ultramarine blue, little raw umber, and sap green, getting a very dark, and I'm going to put that in over here, maybe leaving some of the blue to pop through. I don't know what kind of trees these are. I think there must be some kind of pine because they're rather bluish in colour. We'll see how they turn out. I like to let my paintings just tell me what's happening. I'm going to put some more darks on the ground here. Just dab it on. I live in Florida and close to the, well, not that close actually, but right on the flight path to the Sarasota Bradenton Airport. That's why you can hear the aircraft coming in on a regular basis. So for these horses, I'm going to start off quite pale with raw sienna mixed with titanium white, and I'll be adding darks to that as we go on, because at a certain stage, once I've got paint on the canvas, after that it's all about adding lights and darks in my case. And I want to add here that I don't do these paintings as a tutorial because I'm just not experienced enough, and I am not a teacher. I just share my painting with you, and I hope you enjoy that. And also, I used to sell my work on eBay, and I'm going to get back to doing that. And I'll be a percentage of it will I'll be selling prints, and a percentage will go to one or another of my favorite charities. And then, of course, there'll be selling fees, which will take a chunk. But then, hopefully, I'll actually get some money left over, and I'll be able to buy more paints to paint. That's always my aim, is to keep myself in paints. I think this horse at the back is going to be darker, but we'll start off just using this raw sienna mixed with titanium to begin with, and you can see my sketch lines, can't you, through the paint. That's how thin the paint is. I don't know if I said I'm using water mixable oils, which is my favorite medium. I do the occasional acrylic. I think that's one pair of legs and this is the other pair of legs. And I'm wiping my brush to get the paint, most of the paint out, and I'll wipe it on the front of the painting. And up here, I think I'm going to put a little more blue in there, just a tad, because I don't know what else. So it actually is coming out a little grey. Let's do that again. Okay, so stick a little blue in there. So there we have it. For most part, paint on the canvas. I'm going to add a little sunny colour in the background here. I've mixed sap green with cad yellow and titanium. I want it to look sunlit in the distance, in the middle distance at least. Better. I scrub my brush off. I find if I scrub my brush off in the foreground, I get some interesting sort of colours and textures. I'm going to test run some shadows just using raw umber. They may not stay as dark as this, but I'm just sort of putting them in over the lines of my sketch. Just to see how it looks, really. That has defined the horse a little more. It is too dark, I can see, but as I go over it with some more lights, those darks will blend into the background, or more colour anyway. I've only recently started putting figures in my paintings, apart from the odd bird here and there. Usually I don't go for anything as definite as a horse, so this is new territory for me. I always think once you've got paint on the canvas, it's just a matter of like picking away until you've got it where you are happy. I think I'll put more river there. That's beginning to look better. I think the horse that's standing behind is going to be brown and like darker on the lower part of the legs. That's what I think. And I think it's going to have a dark mane. I might be doing this too soon. And tail. I might be doing this too soon. But like I say, this is me painting. I'm not an expert. There are lots of really good artists on YouTube who I think are experts and could help a lot. So I would suggest looking at their videos if you want expert help. Planes are coming in thick and fast today. This horse is much paler. And maybe it has one of those lovely pale silvery tails and manes that you see sometimes. This is my first attempt, I've got to say, at horses, so cut me some slack. Now I'm using raw umber and ultramarine, heavier on the ultramarine, because I want it darker everywhere in the background. Oh, in the foreground, sorry, I don't know what I'm talking about here. And it's just not. Straight out of the tube. And some more ultramarine. I think that looks a lot better. You've got to have your darks to show up your lights. That's the thing, you know. You can't make this a spotlit area if everything around it is also light. So you have to sort of bite the bullet and stick those darks in there. Just going to go over this scrub paint in there. I think I need more water. Yeah, I do. I've lost the legs, but that's okay. I'm going to work on that and get them back in. I'm using sap green straight out of the tube. Well, I think that's definitely better, and I'm going to just take. I'm going to dampen some paper towel and just like wipe off the legs. Alrighty. I think we're cooking with gas. Well, I had to work on the legs a little to get them back, but now I'm going to do the mane and the tail with some raw sienna and titanium white. So it's got a lovely pale color. and I'll use a similar colour for the shadows, for the highlights on the horse. This painting took almost 2 hours, and so I've had to cut quite a bit of it, but I've kept all the best bits, I think. I think that's coming along. This is the first time I've painted horses, so I'm not 100% sure, to tell you the truth. But I'm going to mix some alizarin crimson and some raw umber to give a sort of dark reddish brown, maybe a little ultramarine blue in there to make it blacker. And I'm going to do these legs and tail. I don't know. Just using this old bristle fan brush to put in a few texture lines. A bit of light too in places. Because trees are not solid, are they? And they do let light in. Not there, maybe. I don't know. I have to take a look at this. I have to just stop and take a look and see how it's going. That's what I'll do. Okay, so what I'm seeing is that the horse behind is not dark enough. So I'm going to mix some raw sienna. Oh, I've got some alizarin on my brush. And some raw umber. And kind of make a dark brown. And then I'm going to put that on. And then I'll put lights on that. See, I think that's better already. I don't know what this is, but I don't like it. I'm just going to make that one leg. I don't know if that's right. And I'm going to I'm just going to scrub over it for now. Here's something. You need a little texture. Now I might put that leg in again. I'm not sure. But for now it's out. that was going to be a very dark leg, so I'm going to put this in the tail. I'm going to put that dark brown on the face and the ears. Okay, I actually put this stroke in here and then realised I hadn't turned the camera on. It's less like the horse that I had drawn, but hey, I'll just keep plugging away. I'm going to dab away at this horse a little. I'm going to put it in. I'm trying to keep a balance on what I do. I don't like to overdevelop one area of my painting at the expense of another. So I sort of work on it all over. Do something with this water. I'm putting straight titanium white on there just to give it those flat planes that you see sometimes when you're looking at a river and it's a very still river, which is how my river is. Or at least it's a very slow moving river. I have to leave areas of my painting to just sort of develop in my head. I'm using a fan brush, a small bristle fan brush, to put in some sort of grassy, weedy bits. Horses are difficult. Okay, I've been looking at lots of pictures of horses, and they've got almond-shaped eyes, and they've got ears that point forward, so this one's not too bad. This one, I think they should come forward. So I'm going to take his ears off. I'm going to put some blue on there. Someone's doing a yard outside. Okay. Put blue all the way along here. All right. Now I'm going to use some raw sienna. Oh my goodness. And I'm going to put his ears in a little more definitely. That's more horsey shaped. I have to figure it out. Okay. This one, his ears have to come more forward. Oh gosh, I think that's a lot better. That's better, isn't it? I think that's better. And okay, I'm not sure about that one. All right. I'm not sure about his ears. I think there's something just wrong about that first one. And then they've got these nostrils, which when you look at them are a bit curly. I think that's better. Whoops. Horses are so difficult. I don't know. Okay, I've got to look at that nose again. Okay, so I'm going to use a rigger, and I'm going to wipe out this horse's nose. I've just been looking on Google Images to see what horse noses and their nostrils actually look like. I don't know what we did before Google Images. Okay, and they're almost like little petals. I know that's weird. Okay, I think that's a bit better. Oh. Okay, I'm gonna go with that. And oh my gosh, that looks weird. That does not look like a horse. I think leaving it indistinct might be the way to go. for my first horses, I don't think that's too bad. Well, I decided to leave it here because honestly I don't know what else to do. If you know, please leave a comment. Perhaps there's something glaringly obvious that I should have done. I don't know what it is. Anyway, thanks for watching and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.